Before we continue where we left off, let's hear who we have at the table, players and characters. Hannah, will you begin?
I am Hannah, playing Winnie, Guardian of the Shared Sky.
Brennan?
I am Brennan, playing Arcos Gerard, brother of Feria.
And Rob?
I'm Rob, playing Magnus Vale, master of day and night.
And I am Amelia Somm, your GM, and this is GuildFellows, the Quiet Cataclysm. And by the time you all descend the mountain, nightfall is drawing near. It's not quite the dead of night. The sun has begun to go over the horizon. You would call it twilight, except the stars are still entirely blocked out by the clouds. As you make your way back toward the camp where the rest of your crew is, you would know this to be a little ways north, just a couple miles from Briar, a semi-permanent camp where, members of the Browl are stationed. It's roughly the size of a small village, with the exception of having a much higher density due to people being housed in barracks. I don't think you guys actually stopped by. I think on the way in you scouted, or you had someone scout, and you chose for expediency to go around with the idea of, if we take out the thing at the source of the evil volcano, we can deal with everything else afterward. The people down here, the Arcaneids, everyone was waiting for a big sign of your success, which they didn't quite get. The skies did not part. There was lightning, which was typical for the time. And you all, having a rather anticlimactic experience at the top of the mountain, elected to head down to camp to figure out your next steps, while also trying to figure out what you would tell everyone. Do you wish to have any in-character conversations on this journey downward, or would you like to fast forward to being in camp?
I've got one thing I would like to. Winnie, Magnus, have we decided which one of us will deliver our victory speech, if it can be called that?
I think it should be called that, regardless. I think it would be unwise to, I don't know, sort of undercut our own authority by flatly telling the whole world that something didn't happen when everyone's clearly expecting something to happen. But I don't think I'm the right person to have this conversation for sort of reputational reasons. I'm not really a good rally the troops sort of person. But I'm very happy to give notes on the speech that does get given. Because I think we have a unique opportunity here to shape our perception for the next several years and sort of shape how the world reacts to this. So I think Julian is right, that this is probably an important moment. So we should think carefully about what we want to say.
Yeah, I think we should frame this as a win regardless. I don't think there's anything wrong with giving people some hope and some confidence in us and with the progress that we're making. So, yeah. I mean, I can do it. I don't know if Arcos, if you want to do it. I know you kind of like the fame and glory thing. I don't want to take that from you if you want it.
Well, okay, well, I don't want to table talk and ask your persuasion score, but...
Is there my persuasion score is a D6 plus 1.
Don't be cowards about it.
I got a D12.
If you want
damn,
Magnus
okay.
Yeah.
Shit.
So
Okay.
Don't be
Arcos,
cowards. Don't let the numbers dictate your life.
Julian and I are going to be conjuring cards in the front row of the audience to tell you some key points. But otherwise, I have the utmost faith that you can do this well.
Can we do that, Miller? Can I have, like, title cards?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
It's like as long as you think you can deliver a speech with the, if you can like, have you done a speech before like this in front of a lot of people?
Oh, has he done a speech before? Oh, bet your ass. This dude loves giving speeches. That's all he does.
All right. Have you read off of cue cards before?
Well, normally I speak from the heart, which is all the time. But normally I'm standing over the corpse of a blighted being wrought with chaos energy I've rooted out by the holy energy of Fira.
I mean, we still got that. It's just we just left it behind. We still did that. Just somewhere else.
There's a lot more thunder when it's with. I think I've never used title cards before, but this seems like a good time to start.
Yes, now, I mostly am trusting in your ability to improvise, but I will be giving you some key points. It doesn't have to be word for word what's on the cards, but we want to make sure that certain messages come across.
Such as?
Well, principally that Magnus has done nothing wrong. That the world is safe for the moment. That we defeated a great foe at the top of Mount Rular, and that we have a war of faith to wage in unifying the entirety of the continent against a common evil. Simple, elementary stuff.
Could you
really.
say that last
Magnus,
part?
can I make a note on that?
Yes, Julian, what do you have?
Yeah, I mean, if someone was giving me a speech,
Right.
and part of the speech was Magnus did nothing wrong.
Yeah,
My
that
first
does
thought
make it sound like
is
that
Magnus
you did do something
definitely
wrong.
fucked shit up. So
Yeah.
maybe we just don't say anything at all, because they're not gonna know.
See, this is why we need people in the writer's room for this sort of feedback. I agree. Lay low. In fact, I probably shouldn't even be there at all. I can just leave the whole speech thing up to you, Julian. You seem like you've got it.
Wait, you want me to do the cue cards by myself then?
No, honestly, it sounds too much fun. I think I want to participate anyway. I'm just saying you're doing great, and I appreciate your feedback.
Yeah.
Where
Cool,
were
boss.
we?
I think Arcos had a question.
Yeah, I was hoping you could rephrase for me that bit about the continental warfare.
Oh, well, I've sort of been reflecting on our journey down the mountain, and I think that we're not so much in a... I think the war is very much still ongoing. I think that we misunderstood on which front we were waging a war. How do I phrase this? I think I talked to a deity on the mountain, and reflecting, that deity is the Brow, the deity of uncertainty. Now, Arcos, what is your god's domain?
Certainty, order, justice, a balanced scale.
And how well were you able to talk to your deity and conjure up her powers up there?
Well, difficult question to answer. I felt like contact was made on my end. I just did not receive a direct sign in the form I'm used to feeling. What are you getting at, Magnus?
Well, it sounds like what you just described to me is that you felt uncertain about your ability to contact the god of certainty, which would indicate that currently the domain that has the most power over this land is a divine domain of uncertainty that is championed by the Browd and led by the forces of the Hooded Lantern, etc. Which means that since the continent is in a time where there's few kings, few laws, no cultural coherence, very difficult, transportation and transmission of information, that uncertainty is practically the order of the day every day around here. So, I think it's not so much about felling a great enemy on top of Mount Rular as it is sort of winning the war of the flow of magic and divinity. It's kind of a complicated subject. We're getting into some deep metaphysical territory. Julian, are you following what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I've been writing all this down.
Oh, thank God.
It surprises me to say it, but in such theological terms, I follow Magnus. I'm a little nervous. I'm not quite experienced with nation building as I am with demon felling, but I believe you have a point. What I could do with your brain is the envy of me sometimes.
Thank you. That was a nice compliment, Arcos. I wish sometimes that you had my brain as well.
All right, well, we can quit patting ourselves on the back here and get a move on this. But no, I think Magnus, you're probably right. Having a hero of Furia, a warrior of certainty, if you will, would be inspiring in this time of uncertainty. Might even help combat some things.
I'm glad I'm glad this doesn't sound insane. I wasn't sort of sure until I said it all out like that.
Could have fooled me, and I know a lot about being sure.
What am I talking about? We must be certain. Certainty is a commodity that we cannot afford to squander. I know I'm right. We must be right, and I think that we're doing the right thing. Right?
Magnus, I've asked you this many times before, but I'm wondering if the answer has changed. Do you think out loud outside of your brain?
I think I'm thinking in a lot of different directions at a given time, Arcos, including inside and outside my brain. So, yes.
Truly incredible. I'm kind of a one-tracked man myself.
Okay, so, the speech then. Arcos, do you understand the assignment?
Absolutely. We've defeated the great evil, and there's still work left to be done. We're living in uncertain times, and it's our job to band together to heal the broken nation, and to put pieces together into a whole.
And
with a W.
We should let them know that we are confident in our directions, and that we know where we are going.
Perfect. You're a natural. I know that you would be able to do this. Great. So, Julian and I will get started on some of the cards. We'll find some fancy phrasing for you to use. We'll even throw in some fun ones, just sort of like extra points if you can work this phrase into the speech, you know what I mean? We can make it a little game. I need to meet with the Arcaneids, about the fight that's gonna come after the speech. Are we still wanting to go destroy the camp?
I believe we have time. Winnie?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if it's gonna help, if we can get some information out of them.
Sure. Okay. Wonderful.
As you say wonderful, you hear excellent. And Magnus, you recognize this voice as you didn't give me names for the Arcaneids, so I just named them. Do
Yes,
you have names for them?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I left this to you.
Excellent. You recognize the voice of Ilya, who is the Grand Arcaneid of temporal magic.
Amazing.
Who recently, just now, approached you all. All right. You want me to take you in?
Oh, hello, Ilya. Did not see you there.
Yeah, I've been, trying to work on sneaking up on people, so.
Well, job well done. Seems that the lightning dulled my senses. Usually I could hear your footsteps quite well, but not.
Oh, I teleported in.
Oh, very good. Yes,
Temporal magic and all that, so.
Yes, sure. Let's go, please.
All right, everybody grab hands. And as soon as you all connect the circuit, you are instantly teleported. Roughly, I don't know, somewhere around 1,000 feet. The camp itself is concealed under illusion. Your camp being much, much smaller than the Briar. I described the Briar as a war camp the size of a village. Y'all's is like an actual campsite with the Grand Arcaneids, a few other trusted people. There's maybe like 20-ish 20-ish skilled laborers and fighters who are incredibly trustworthy that you guys brought with you on this excursion. All right. Here we are. How did it go? We were waiting for a signal, and is it good that there wasn't one? Is it bad? I didn't really hear you guys. I heard you talking about a speech, but I didn't hear exactly anything really before that. Should I wait for the speech?
Yes. We are going to need to make a grand announcement to the people of Coira once we have completed our mission here, because, well, for reasons that we won't get into necessarily right at this moment, there's been some complicated developments that are difficult to explain beyond just we destroyed a magical thing and the world is better, even though that is very much what happened.
All right, so do you want me to get the rest of the Arcaneans? Do you want me to gather everyone at the camp? Are we going out to Briar, or what happens now? Kind of looking at Magnus and then looking at Arcos and then Winnie and then briefly at Julian and then be like, wait, no, and then going back to Magnus.
Ilya, where are the other Grand Arcaneids at this moment?
They're just in the war room. I say war room. It's just a big tent.
Of course. I would like to talk to all four of you alone in a moment here. Companions, is there anything that you would like to do with me before that?
No, go talk to your people.
Okay.
Filia's blessing upon you.
Of course. Yeah. I would like to gather Ilya and the other GAs for like a private little like heart-to-heart.
Yeah. Yeah, so Ilya takes you to the rest of your graduate assistants and you head toward
That is so what they are too.
Yeah. You head toward the war room, which is, you know, a pretty simple tent. There's, you know, the quintessential table in the center. Part of it describes this geological region with information about the Briar and the information about who they've seen coming and going from the camp. They've had some people do some reconnaissance about what the layout looks like, how many buildings, how many people, any, you know, arcane protections, any physical protections and all of that. And then there's some storage of like some of the nicer weaponry and things that are kept safe here toward the center. But you see Jasper and Kiri are kind of mumbling, moving things around, talking. Ralph is just sitting off on the side with a book as Ilya leads you inward.
So it was Ilya, Jasper, Ralph, and what was the fourth's name? Did you say the fourth's name?
Kiri.
Kiri. Okay.
Also, Kiri uses they, them pronouns. Ilya. All the rest, I don't know. I assume, I just kind of give they to everyone as like a side thing because it's fantasy world, but Jasper and Ralph are like he, him, or he, they, and then Ilya is like she, her.
Wonderful. So the Grand Arcaneids, of course, were all students of Magnus, and as we've sort of alluded to, are sort of his graduate assistants. If he's like the master magician, they are sort of his entourage that now like sort of run their own magical schools of their own different concentrations. These people Magnus is known for quite a long time. Is it just us in this war tent?
It is just the four of you now.
Okay. So Magnus is going to come in with Julian, of course, and going to sort of clear his throat and say, "Hello, class. How's everyone doing?"
Jasper, everyone kind of stands up a little bit, not quite at like military level attention, but in the way you do when someone who is your superior that you have respect for comes back. There is a palpable sense of relief and also a slight tension of uncertainty, having seen you come back in one piece. Jasper says, "Hello."
Hello. And Magnus, I think, clocks the uncertainty, like you says, and is like now very fixated on this concept of like confidence and certainty in the face of this. So I think that like he is trying to like cut the seriousness more. Like his like teaching style and personality has always been like everything's a joke, nothing is real. He is like, I think, noticeably like more like uptight professorial in this moment. And he says, "Hello. As I'm sure you all are wondering, things did not necessarily go to plan on Mount Frular. But before we get into all of that why, we need to have a remedial lesson about the nature of magic, the nature of divinity, and the nature of cycles. You all are all my students, and I need your help. Now, who can explain to me the idea of, let's say, how does one get magic from a god go?"
They kind of just stand there a little bit, like you just came down from like fighting the big bad, and you're schooling them on like pretty rudimentary magic, like 101 type stuff. So they all just kind of sit there a little bit in silence, waiting for like the punchline before Kiri pipes up and says, "Well, there are several different ways you can get magic from a god. You could enter in some sort of contractual pact in which you they grant you magical boons in exchange for your soul or additional powers, or perhaps like legislative power, perhaps political power. You are working in a very one-to-one ratio of you performing these goods and they will receive these services, or you performing these services and they will receive these goods. You also have people who serve gods as clerics, and their power comes from their belief in the divine. They hold close to the ideals of the god, and their belief in those ideals channel through the power and from the power of the god, shaping the god and shaping themselves. You also have people who are just granted..."
Very good, Kiri. Thank you. That is enough. Now, a more complicated question befitting your stations. Say that we have a god of uncertainty. And, as a domain of uncertainty, cannot manifest itself like a ball of fire, or as an all-seeing eye, or as the other elemental forms of magic that one could associate with a god. And now we know that gods, when they make contracts, they shape the world around them for the people that make those contracts, and in the fabric of nature and reality, as Kiri has so eloquently put it for us. So, we have to ask ourselves, what would the world look like if the domain of uncertainty became the most powerful and widely interacted with domain on the continent?
Ralph speaks up, kind of probably the most burly of all of the Arcaneids, and says, "Yeah, it'd probably look like this bullshit."
That is exactly, Ralph, what I was thinking as I was walking down the mountain. So, here's the sitch. Up on the mountain in Vrular, we destroyed what I believe to be a giant behemoth rock monster that was infected with the corruption that we've seen infect the land and infect the animals and the people. Now, we were expecting that whatever we felled at the top of the mountain would have a cascading effect upon the land, because so many of the magical, big, bad things that we deal with work that way. As a source of magic, destroy the source, it peters out. But we're not dealing with a one-off lich or dragon or what have you, but a god and its domain. So now here's the real question. If we're fighting a belief system,
and the people that believe in it. What do we do now to remove that corruption of uncertainty from Coira?
Jasper offers we could start some government propaganda.
This is what I would like you for to do in the meantime. This is going to be an ongoing question, and I've got much to do with my companions. But I would like you to sort of brainstorm both magical and mundane solutions of how we can start bringing a bit more order and certainty to the world.
They all kind of look at each other, and Ilya is the one who says, "Yes, sir. We'll get right on that." Question, are we doing this uncertainty before or after we... Are we going... What are we doing with the Briar? We've got a lot of intel. Are we leaving it? Are we destroying it? Are we infiltrating? Or...
A mix of a lot of those things, I would hazard a guess. The immediate plan is to cut the weeds, so to speak, and come and do what we intended to do all along, which was destroy the immediate threat of the gathered officials and enemies that are over yon hill. But we also need to gather some information about their organizational structure, and yes, I think infiltrating the nests of the Briar and the Hooded Lantern is in the cards in the intermediate future as well. And I don't intend you all to do this alone either. This is going to be my work as well for the foreseeable future. And of course, I can't make any of you do anything, but I would appreciate the help, because I trust all of you.
Yeah, well, we're kind of in too deep now to quit, so guess we have to trust you too, Roth says with a smirk.
That's the spirit. Okay, I need to go do some serious PR management, so be well.
Yeah, we'll get back to solving all your problems for you, Magnus.
Magnus just smiles and then steals himself and returns back to his friends.
Yeah, as you go, you can hear Kiri say, "Okay, so I think the best point of action is," and then kind of goes off on different brainstorming techniques.
God bless
as
Kiri.
you
getting things done.
Love them. As that's happening, Winnie and Arcos, are you doing anything in particular?
I feel like we'd be standing outside. So
Yeah,
Arcos would
I
say,
feel like we're rehearsing the talking points, probably.
Yeah.
How does this sound? Our God has not abandoned us yet.
Well, I mean, not everyone is a worshiper of Furia, so maybe let's avoid saying the word "our God." No one's abandoned us. Let's get off of that. Let's we're trying to combat the disbelief here, so let's focus on the positive, focus on the future, where we're going, what we want to do. Try again.
All right. We are confident moving forward to pick up broken pieces, and upon placing them together, construct a brighter future for all people on this great land.
Yes, that's what we're working towards. That's much better.
I hate to interrupt the rehearsal, but how do you think it's going in there, in the tent?
Oh, I'm sure Magnus is up on a pedestal trying to be a professor, as he always is, but the Arcaneids can get stuff done, so I trust him.
I've worried about him of late. He hasn't been the same since his wife left.
Yeah, I mean, that does a lot to a person, losing your spouse.
I am so sorry. I I forgot.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I've had a lot of time to, heal.
He's just my friend.
He's mine too. We're going through this together. We're doing this for them.
You're right. In fact, I like that. We're doing this for them.
We're doing this so no one else has to go through it.
That's honest, it's sincere, and it's accurate. I think we've really found our message.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you, Winnie.
I'm here to help, as long as those cue cards don't get messed up in the process. Just, go off your gut. I trust Julian, though. I trust Julian a little more than I trust Magnus with that sort of thing.
And as soon as you finish saying that, Magnus, you walk up.
Yeah, me and Julian around the corner, and we've got some note cards that we've been writing down. And as we round the corner, Magnus is like, "Oh yes, no, we should make him work in scrum-diddly-umptious into the speech. Yeah, write that one down."
Magnus, I love to yes and you, but I do feel like this is kind of very important.
I know, I'm just so stressed, and everybody's so serious. It's hard. I've got some pranks up my sleeve just to sort of take the edge off, you know what I mean? This is just dire. Oof. Oh, hey guys, hey. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yeah, we're not gonna work scrumdiddlyumptious into the script. You can cross that one out, Julian.
X-nay on the umskillity-unctious A.
Julian is erasing it.
Well, everybody's a critic, I guess.
I just would like it to go as smooth as possible.
Right. Well, you'll probably end up giving this speech one or two times. Well, I wonder, I think I know a spell or something. Is there any way that Magnus can,
Is there, a magic broadcasting?
That's kind of what I was going to ask. I was like, is there any way to,
This
broadcast
is
this,
with the fireside chat.
Coira? Or at least, get a bunch of scribes to, write it down.
Yeah, I would think this would have been something that you would have prepared beforehand. You would have understood that you probably will need to make an announcement. So, Magnus, you do have those magical ravens, yes? The little smoke pigeon. Are they smoke pigeons?
They were made out of smoke.
Yeah, I think they were crows or ravens or something. Yeah.
Oh.
I think it was I think it was ravens. I think it was ravens.
I think it was ravens because the vibes.
Yeah.
I had
You
normal
specifically
pigeons.
had a pigeon. You had regular pigeons, messenger pigeons. Oh my god. Yeah, so Magnus, I will say, let's roll some dice about this.
I would love to roll some dice about this.
Okay, I think it will be, so the target number is going to be 4. This is just going to be a spellcasting power roll. And for every raise you get 4, if you get a 4, people are going to, the scribes are going to take it down. You'll be able to send it out. For every raise you get, that increases the efficacy of the message for what you're able to pull together in the short amount of time. So that's if you want to sort of enchant a piece of scroll to capture the likeness of who's speaking, so it sort of animates and it speaks it outward versus just a simple voice recording, like a messaging spell. So every raise will kind of make it that level cooler. If you one raise, you get some scribes and you can immediately send the transcription of the message to whoever.
Okay. Yes. And then so I roll a skill die plus my hero die, right?
Yes.
That's how this works.
Your wild card die.
Yeah.
Wild card die.
Some of them are villains.
Okay, let's see how I do this. Okay. So that is an 8. So that's 1 raise, I think.
I have
Okay,
I have a
that is-
calculator in the
Yeah, I don't believe you me. I keep an eye on it. So that is 1 raise. So with 1 raise, I will say that you are able to get a transcription of the speech as Arcos delivers it, as well as a sort of enchanted recording. So when someone opens the script, not only can they read and have an instant copy of it, but they can hear Arcos dictating as if it were in real time.
Amazing. Yeah, that's about as fancy as I would hope that it would get. Getting a mass text from from Magnus. Amazing. Yeah. So I think Magnus is going to do some spell work to like prepare a bunch of enchanted pieces of parchment sort of ahead of time, so that when the scribes write on them, it'll just do that. Otherwise, I'll leave it up to my friends to sort of get this speech ready.
Yeah, and if you want, Kiri would probably be the Arcaneid who would be the most skilled at helping you with that.
Sure.
If you wanted assistance. Yeah.
I'll go ahead and send Alfalfa to go fetch Kiri for me. Pull her away from the brainstorming session. Them away for the brainstorming session.
Yeah. And they do so. They're very eager to help.
Hello, do you still remember that fancy letter enchanting trick I taught you way back?
Oh, yes, definitely. I use it all of the time.
Well, wonderful, because we're going to be using it a lot in the next 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So, all together now.
Yeah, and you two begin. Kiri, who does this pretty often as they specialize in contractual-based magic that often involves literal contracts. Very practiced at enchanting parchment, has a lot of it ready to go and begins sort of laying it out, and honestly shows you a little bit about like making it a very efficient process of, transcripting magically one speech over like 12 or 20 different enchantments. How many of these do you want to send out?
I want to send basically one letter to every allied like town or settlement that we would have contact with like leadership in. So like anywhere that there's like, like any hamlet that has like a knight that is like tangentially holding things together, and like any like duke or like duchy that is like still running things. Because I know there's no like real kings anymore. It's just like independent city states sort of vibes. So like to anybody that would like read that and not just be like, oh, so that's where we should go and kill them all, we're probably not sending anything to like Alvrion or anything like that. That's like totally taken over. So
and I mean, I would say probably even in Avrion you still have like a contact. You still probably have a network of contacts that's pretty underground, but you would be able to find a way to get the word there, if not directly. That seems reasonable. In your individual travels, especially with the past year and a half or so you all have been traveling together, you definitely have people who are actively waiting on this information, some who know exactly where you are right now, others who just know that you've been on this quest for a while. So that's easy enough. So as you guys are getting that enchantment ready, what are your other two doing?
I'd probably be rehearsing the cue cards, just looking them over, knowing what order they're supposed to be in.
I'm probably trying to decide whether I want to get one sent to Envy's family or not. Just kind of debating that in my head. I still haven't decided. If not just for her own, like definitely not for like the whole court or anything like that, just for like her family to know what's up with me at the time.
Okay. As you all are doing that, Julian has just gone around to gather people up, about like telling everyone about half an hour from when you've started this to gather. It's well past twilight into the night. The moon is not in sight. It is fairly dark. You guys just missed the new moon? No. Other way around.
Full moon?
No, hold on. This is important. I have to remember it.
I love the cycle of the moon.
Gotta write this down.
Fuck
Got it.
There are two moons. Because it's a fantasy world, obviously.
That's sick.
Important to know.
Are they on the same cycle?
No. Well, kind of. Actually, honestly, I don't want to commit to it because I actually want to look up to see how... They're not on the same cycle. I'm going to say only one of them is tidally locked to the oceans. The other is just sort of a revolving body and much smaller. You would be just barely past... No, just before a new moon. So you're at like a waning crescent. All this to say that it's dark. And even without that, it is still incredibly cloudy. So the clouds are slightly illuminated in that light purplish color where the moon is behind. But other than that, it is the roar of a campfire and some arcane torches put around. You're not worried about light drawing any attention to your camp, as it is all under the cover of an illusion. But that is the setting. Orange light flickers on the eager and expectant faces of the Grand Arcaneids, of some other trusted mages and warriors and spies of different kinds, looking toward you, Arcos.
Arcos is sweating a little bit. Brennan is sweating a lot. I am so fucking nervous.
Winnie's giving you a double thumbs up from the side.
That makes me feel a little bit better. Oh, God. Okay.
You got this.
Friends, we have fought together this last year and a half to restore order and a better world to our beloved land of Coira. I'm gonna, for the first time, squint just a little bit, and then, make a note that it's upside down to Magnus.
Shit. It's just a sign that says, we have vanquished a great foe.
Okay. We have vanquished a great foe. But as the ancient laws that govern our reality have always been, the balance of resources is a zero-sum game. All is cyclical. And when one is placed on the great scale of reality, another equal place exists to outweigh it.
He's doing great. Did we write any of this? I don't think we did.
With that in mind, the great foe was vanquished deep in the briar on Mount Rular, where we met our enemy and felled it. However, a battle has been won and a war has begun. There is no end without a beginning, nor is a beginning without an end. And it is our job to not let the battle end on Vrular, but to pick up the pieces of a shattered Coira, and when we put them back together, construct a better future. From the tundras of Tyrion, the taiga of Avrion, the forests of Forlorn, the jungles of Graz, the plains of Rel, the swamps of Tyrannin. There is no hero among us, but a band of countless soldiers and strong souls.
Magnus is gonna hold up a sign that just says a huge applause. Just prestidigitates a huge applause.
Okay. And remember, we must pause for applause. Sorry.
Yeah, I will say the applause isn't like super, super loud because you are still like, you're under an illusion spell. You are still hiding from an enemy camp. So people start clapping and then they immediately like hush themselves.
True.
Kiri and Julie just casting like hush spells, like, no, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
The most important thing to remember is not that the great ill has been felled, but that we are confident in our direction and we know where we are going. To heal this nation and make it whole. Kraith is a better land because of you. And our job is to continue on that path. The greatest, most important step in any journey is the next one. And we humbly enlist you all to take that one with us.
Wow! Yeah, Arco!
Yeah, there's like clapping. There, some of the mages are like kind of shooting these little sparkles out of their fingers as they're clapping.
God.
You killed that shit. Arcos for president.
Yeah.
It's
I don't even
happening.
want to make you like roll anything for that. That was good, but you can if you want.
Extra spicy. That was so good.
My therapist is like, have you had any stressful experiences?
No, dude, you
continent
like
is
did
dying.
so well.
My carcass is dying.
I
I've been fighting
it.
a blight for fucking forever, and we killed it. Now I've still got to give a speech.
Dude,
She's
you're gonna
like,
listen to
okay.
that back in a week, and you're gonna be like, "Man, I slaughtered that."
Yeah, once
was
Han
so
puts the
good.
music
It's gonna be
behind
great.
it,
It's gonna be good.
it's gonna be so good.
That whole speech, I was just the meme of the man saluting
The
and
emoji
crying.
salute.
I felt, yeah.
That was the hardest thing I've ever done on GuildFellows. I'm not rolling for this. I'm
Yeah, I know. No, that was great. As you finish your speech, there's loudness. Everyone eventually quiets themselves down. And then a voice of, I don't know, someone, you would probably know everyone here's name. And they all have names, good names,
Great
strong
names.
names, the phenomenal
Thought
names.
of names.
Thought of
through.
names that aren't just the names of your characters, NPCs. I almost said Ellie, and I was like, that one's
this is
taken.
Sorry.
The quality that comes to mind when I think of these names is premeditated.
me every 3 seconds in season 2. That happens to the best of us.
It is a woman whose name is Yannick.
Strong.
And
Yannick.
she said, I told you they're strong names. And she says, so what now? Like, and she's asking this as a genuine, like, question, not even like, not trying to be contrarian or anything, but we've done it. We're here. What now?
For the details, I'm gonna like give like a help me look to Winnie.
We are analyzing our next steps forward.
And also flash the look to Magnus and Julian.
Okay. Magnus would like to. So he saw the war room, right? And I like to think that you said there was like maps and battle plans all across the war room.
Yeah.
So presumably that indicates we had some sort of battle plan to go take out this war camp, right?
Yeah, I would say likely what happened is as you guys set up this base, you set them up with the intent of gathering intel and doing reconnaissance on Briar, which is that war camp, while you guys went up to deal with that, so that when you came down, you could figure out how to best advance.
Amazing. So besides the Arcaneids, who else was working on that strategy? Was Yannick part of that? What is her role?
I would say that Yannick is Yannick would have been one of the people who is in charge of managing like 3 other individuals who actually go in and do the reconnaissance. So Yannick herself would have gone along with 3 others. So she kind of reports the Arcaneids. I would say like in a hierarchical sense where there isn't like a directly clear one. It's not like the Arcaneids are in charge explicitly of everybody else. Yannick was probably someone who connected with Winnie, who you would have known like through working in the cities, very good at what she does, very good at gathering intel. So she's someone who kind of, isn't like working as a consultant, but who's largely responsible for getting information and would be happy to advise you on the particulars of whatever course of action you want to take. So when she says what now, she's kind of asking, okay, so like, what is my next goal? What information do you guys need from us? What am I supposed to tell the people who report to me? And she's pretty well respected. So she's also more likely to be the person who asks because no one else really wants to.
Perfect. Okay, I love this person. This person is so helpful in all scenarios. Yannick, just the person I needed. Magnus would like to try to conjure up a prestidigitated, like, this may be complicated. Yeah, he's a legend. He can do it. I want to prestidigitate basically a magical holographic map of Briar, of the town.
Yeah. Magnus, I will say, as Yannick says, what now, you step forward toward the large fire at the center of camp. And as you extend your hand, the flames lick upward and the embers of light begin to sort of coalesce into thin, stationary pictures, like a charcoal sketch in the air, but written in glowing fire, kind of illuminated, flittering, a large representation of the map of this area of Coira.
Wonderful. So dope. Also, just love that description. Magic is so much fun. So Magnus conjures this three-dimensional map and kind of gestures for Yannick to come like stand beside him and Arcos and Winnie kind of up on this raised platform so that she can sort of gesture to the map and direct people around it. And I tell Yannick, I understand that you have been primarily in charge of gathering information about this here town and devising some strategies with our Arcaneids and other experts in the room. Would you please kindly point out to us on the map where the concentration of forces are and how you think we, now with the combined force of us three as well, might best capture this town for the forces of certainty and light?
Right. Well, so Briar's laid out in a circular structure. There's a wall erected around the perimeter with 3 main gates. There's barracks, mess, general medical, tents toward the outside. Some of the barracks are buildings, some of the medical areas are, others are just semi-permanent tents. As you move further inward, you get more important equipment, storage, and munitions. They also have some meeting and strategic areas. Those are more permanent buildings, some of which we weren't able to get in because not without possibility of being discovered, so we left those alone. Some of the generals also are housed in their other buildings of unclear purpose. We weren't able to, we've only had about 2 days, so we didn't get too far inward. It's about the size of a small village. They have some troops on site. It's more of a command center, so those who stay there are generally the coterie of whatever generals are staying in the area, but it's not really a residential place. They seem to be trucking everything in from Corinne. And, that's about it. If you wanted to, my recommendations for an assault would be different than an infiltration if you wanted to break it out from the inside or overwhelm them with force. We could probably figure out the timing depending on how many people are in the city. It didn't look barren or abandoned, but many of the barracks seemed to be empty just for timing or whatnot.
So, in other words,
there's a very dark energy within.
Not surprising. So, would it be your advice to strike now while it's dark and the iron is hot, so to speak, or should we take the time to infiltrate? And I think Magnus sort of asks that to his companions as well. It's like, do we want to sneak? Do we want to fight?
Well, I think if we're planning on If we're planning on using a full force, we should do it right before dawn. That's when things tend to come alive in the camp. If we're planning on going more of the stealth route, we should definitely wait until the cover of nightfall. If you want to, well, what exactly is our end goal? Are we trying to take everyone out? Are we trying to take out who's in charge? Are we just trying to get surrender?
Primary objective is to reduce this town to a state where it cannot be used as an active command center, since it seems to be the heart of at least the operational side of the Briar and the corruption, etc. Our secondary objective is to capture at least one high-ranking official that could give us more in-depth intel about the operations of the goings-on across the continent as a whole.
In that case, I think going under cover of night, infiltrating quietly, trying to take out some sensitive systems, trying to eliminate any threats, perhaps while they are unawares, and then go from there. Maybe we can get them to surrender, maybe we can get the people to retreat. I think with the numbers we have and the numbers they have, I'm not entirely confident that we could just brute force them, unless you were just trying to destroy the entire camp. I think if we went information, we're probably better going the sneaky route.
Yes, I'm sort of envisioning a 1-2 punch of sneak around, and then once all the people we care about are clear, I can bring, and the Arcaneids as well, and I think he looks over to Ralph and Jasper in the room, can do some heavier hitting once we get what we need. But we certainly want to minimize the loss of life to the extent possible, so starting clandestine is a good idea to me. Winnie, I don't suppose that you have your expertise in sneaking around the forest. That might be helpful.
Yeah, I was thinking I might be able to, with a few other ranged fighters, take out anyone that's on lookout on the walls, on the gates and such. That might be a good place to start.
So we're to the north of Briar, but there's a guard tower on the west. I think if you were able to capture that, you'd have a pretty good view of most of the inside of the camp. It would be a great vantage point.
Yeah, I'll start there.
And Arcos, I think you lead in the main force that will do some of the distracting and fighting while we exfiltrate. Whoever we need to exfiltrate makes a good deal of sense to me.
It would be my honor. This sounds like an excellent plan. I have full confidence in Winnie. Nobody better in the whole world.
Well, thank you.
I'm a bit louder than you are. Looks down at giant feet.
Wonderful. Then, Ilya. You have clearly sharpened up your teleportation skills since we have last had a lesson. I think you and I, it makes sense, being the most mobile, can zap in, grab a few froppy-looking starred generals and get out pretty unnoticed. Would you be up for that?
It's what I'm here for.
Of course. Ralph, Jasper, and Kiri, you're on full chaos. Yeah. What other forces do we have at disposal? Oh, go for it. Never mind.
As soon as you say that on full chaos, Jasper rips his shirt open, the buttons.
Oh my god.
Oh, God bless
Ready.
Jasper. I'm so excited for Winnie Gear Solid. This is going to be awesome.
My stealth score is probably not as high as it should be, but it's not nothing.
It's going to be great. I'm going to grab some popcorn for this. It's going to be awesome.
All right, so are we going tonight?
I think that we should go as soon as we are able and ready.
Do we need to rest up any recharge for magic spells, anything like that?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do we get our power points back from when we smacked around the behemoth?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you take a few hours to... You guys got to eat food.
Yeah.
And, like, rest a bit. I think the time you trying to nail down the finer details of this as people are getting ready. You can get your stuff back.
Amazing.
Okay. So you all rest up. What is the order of operations on this?
I think we get the guard tower first, I think. Right? Unless anyone has any objections to that.
It sounds like not a real strategist IRL, but I would assume take out the guard tower and the sentries. Arcos leads a force to cause some sort of distraction away from the command tent. Ilya, Yannick, and Magnus sneak into the command center, maybe with some teleportation magic, and then Boogie, at which point we retreat our forces back so that then the three of us plus Arcaneids can actually drop the hammer on this place.
So
that's kind of the plan I envision.
So guard tower, distraction, and teleportation happening roughly simultaneously. Adjudicate all of that and then regroup.
Yes.
Okay. Yannick describes to you all a just sort of a general meeting area. It's a building. It's not like a break room, but it's just kind of there's just tables. It's just what they do. It's not like the head war room. It's not where they keep all strategy stuff, but when they need an area
to take
and
a
it's
break
usually
in.
It's
room.
not even a break. They use it for other meetings and stuff when they're working.
Yeah,
but it's just kind of
heat up their leftovers.
There's a fridge
Anyways, Yannick describes to you all a building and tells you roughly where it is in the camp for you all to regroup at once it's necessary. So, as you all do things to prepare, is there anything in particular you want to get ready before you head out? Or should we just jump into it?
I'm gonna gather, I'm sure we have at least one or two other archers with us in this camp.
Yeah, you probably brought them.
Yeah. I'm going to have probably 2 or 3 come with me in case there's a lot of them in the guard tower, a lot of people up there. Just also so we can strike from different points. And then also I'm going to ready my spells that will be helpful for when I enchant my bow and shoot at them. Real good.
You have 3 other archers with you. Irelea, Cassini, and Volok. I would say Irelea and Volok, you haven't known as long as Cassini, but Cassini is one of the many young women who you've taken under your charge to teach them how to use a bow and how to survive and how to fight for what they believe in. Mm-hmm. And you all head out. So this town is roughly circular. There's a gate on the southern, western, and eastern sides, roughly. The tower above the western gate is the largest one, and it makes sense. This place is butted up to a mountain range on the east. So, how do you want to approach?
Okay, you said we're up against a mountain range on the east.
You guys right now, your camp is to the north of Briar.
Got it. Just any vegetation. Is there any vegetation? Probably not. We're on a volcano. We're on a mountain range.
Yeah, there's some rocks. There's actually some an entirely dead forest, which is where you guys have been hiding your camp, basically.
Oh, okay, perfect.
None of this is normal plant. It's all blighted
Uh-huh.
and darkened and spooky.
Got it. Okay. We'll move.
So there is some area.
Yeah, we'll move through there just for low visibility, low chance of being spotted. Yeah. And then if we can get within range while we're still in
I would say there's roughly 100 feet around the the wall of the camp that has been intentionally cleared out.
Okay.
So they can see when people are directly approaching. But that is within your bow range.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I will, we'll kind of set up. I'll have the Aralea, Cassini, and Volak, I'll probably have them kind of spread out from different vantage points if we can kind of get a sort of dimensional.
So you take it more or less head on, not directly. There is a road. Road is a very strong word. That clears out from the west gate, connecting this theoretically eventually to Kareen. So you are kind of closer to that central point with Cassini to the north of you, and Volak and Aralea at some point can sneak across that road to the other side and be to the south of it. So you have someone on either side of the road just keeping an eye out in case anything is approaching or leaving. Yannick said that you guys waited several hours. It's the dead of night. There's not a whole lot of movement happening. And you have an eye clearly on where the guard tower is.
Okay. Can I look up there to spot how many people are up there?
Yes, you can.
Am I rolling for that, I assume?
Yes. Just regular target number of 4.
Notice. Perfect.
I'm just imagining your blue hair sticking out of a cardboard box as you do all this sneaking.
Yeah, no, so I'm in an archer mode. I think since it's the dead of night right now, Winnie's hair is probably like bright blue. Not that it like glows or anything, so it wouldn't like give her away, but it's like bright blue, like day, clouds going through it, and it's up in a ponytail. I rolled a 5 for notice.
Okay, so as you were looking at this guard tower, you notice a few things. The wall itself is about maybe like 6-ish feet wide. It's not huge, but it is enough for a patrol to walk around it. And the tower itself goes up about 30 feet. It really extends higher than any building in the camp. There are embrasures that you can see in like the arrow slits in the walls. You can't see well enough to tell whether they are manned. You assume at least some of them are. They're, let's see, there's 2 facing each direction on either level. So on the second level and the third level, the first level kind of opens and the gate to the town is in the base of the tower. There's also a guard stationed at the top. And you watch. He's standing, moves to the other side of the tower, and another guard takes his place. So there's 2 people patrolling the top at any given time. And the tower is flush with the outside, roughly flush with the outside of the wall. It extends backward, maybe like 15 feet or so, like inward to the city. So they are patrolling an area. And so there is a walkable roof.
Got it.
And so you keep an eye and you count. You notice the guards on the wall will walk in to the tower and then out. It is hard to tell exactly as the gates are closed. You don't see anyone like necessarily coming in or out from the lower level, but it's possible. They all look pretty identical. They're wearing very similar armor, so it could be one guard going in and walking out the other side. That guard could go in, someone else could walk. It's hard to get exact numbers. As you stand there watching, how long would you spend looking, keeping an eye on the guards?
Probably like somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes, just to kind of get a sense of routine.
Yeah, if you're watching for like, let's say you're watching for the full 20 minutes, you know there are at least 4 guards patrolling on the top of the wall. There are 2 guards on the ground outside, likewise patrolling. And there are 2 at the top of the building. You don't see anyone in the peeking out of the embrasures. There's no clear open windows.
Okay. So that's 8 total?
2, 4. Yes.
Okay. Cool. So you said, so there's nowhere I could take a clear shot from? Is that what you mean when there's no open windows?
The guards on the out, you can see 8 guards.
Yeah.
And you could get a clear shot of those. The issue is the guards who are walking around the city, and you're timing like the speed at which they're walking, and the ones who are walking on the wall, like they're all pretty evenly spaced. So if you see one guard on this side, there's another guard on the opposite side of the city patrolling the outside, and the same with the walls.
Okay.
You can very clearly see the 2 guards at the top of the tower. It is dark at night. They're kind of backlit. Mm-hmm. And this is mostly because your elven eyes are very keen and acclimated to spotting these sorts of things.
Okay. I think we'll probably just go level by level then. Yeah. I'm gonna whisper over to Cassini. I think we'll get the top ones first. I think that's a good idea.
All right.
And I'm gonna, I'll get the one on the left.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a shot.
Yeah, Cassini looks and readies her bow. I'm just going to. I don't really want to roll for the NPCs because I feel like it'd be kind of shitty if I rolled badly and that reflected poorly on you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have you roll. For your shot will count for both of them.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is, hold on. Don't tell me your results yet.
I haven't rolled anything.
Excellent. Love that for me.
I'm obsessed with Hitman Winnie. Just
This is what she's good at.
if anybody dies from a falling chandelier, just know it's Winnie.
Took out the chain, yeah.
It's awesome.
And I assume my other 2 compatriots are gonna follow my lead on the other side.
Yes. I'm going to have... Who do you want them to be shooting at?
Probably the people in the middle, yeah?
Yeah, so the people on the middle level, they're walking around the wall of the city.
Okay.
So there might, if you time it right, you could get 2 of them in range at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that then.
Okay. Okay, so you
I assume we talked about this before getting into position.
Just all hand signals.
Yeah.
Sniper Elite Winnie Edition.
I don't know if they all have night vision, dark vision, whatever.
Okay, so here is how we are going to do this. You are going to roll to hit, and I believe your hit needs to beat their parry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Pretty sure. That sounds right. Yeah, I'm just gonna have you do one roll for this and then another roll for the other team.
Okay, cool. Okie dokie, let's hope I roll okay. Oh, that's pretty good. That's a 12 for the first roll.
That definitely beats their parry.
Let's
What
go.
is the damage on that?
Is that a natural 12?
That is 10 plus 1 plus 1,
Okay.
so no. Can I readied my spells at the camp, so can we say I used my smite spell to
Sure.
increase the damage?
Yes. Is that typically something you have to cast before you strike?
It is. It doesn't say like a duration or anything like that. It's like the duration's like 5 rounds or whatever.
We talked in episode 1 about how like she would have cast a whole quiver,
Yeah,
so she
yeah.
doesn't have to do it per arrow.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
Yeah, it is. I think we stacked it last time per how many raises I got.
Yeah. I think okay, yeah. I think I want to handle this differently for the next hit, but
Okay. I mean, however you want to do it.
I think what we'll do, since you're rolling and since you have really high stats, is each raise will be how many people that you hit. So you're going for 2 people, so you just get 1 raise, and I'm just going to assume that if you hit them, you're going to take them down pretty easily.
Okay. So should I add anything? Should I add anything? Should I just use like one raise towards that then, since I'm only going for 2 people?
I think so. Wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
So add +2 to my damage for this
Yes.
fight. Okay. Instead of +4. Okay, so that is 9 for damage.
Okay, so that beats their toughness score.
Yes.
Which means that they take a wound. You guys are
Nice.
sniping in the dead of night. You are one of the best archers in the world.
Hee hee.
And as you square up to take the shot, you each pull back your bow. This is something that you can't yell. This all needs to be in perfect sync. You breathe in, and as you breathe out, you glance at Cassini. You both look back. You breathe in again, and at the exact same time, release the bow. Yours with a magical energy, hers with a perfect precision. Yours sails straight through the eye, hers straight through the chest. Both of the beings at the top of the tower fall inward, not alarming anyone on the outside. A few moments after that, the 2 on the other side of the road begin to take their aim at the 2 walking on. So one is kind of toward the rear end on the south side. Both of them are roughly on the south side. So because of where they're located, they're kind of angled to be able to see them. I want you to go ahead and roll me those hits.
Okay. Let's go. That is an 18.
Oh,
That's what's up.
With an 18, go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay. How much should I add to that?
You can go ahead and add your smite to that.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right, because it's not me. Sorry. That is 10.
10 beats their toughness. An 18 definitely clears all of their parry. I will say with that roll, Volok and Aralea, again, in perfect synchronicity, release the arrows and they sink in both of them, straight in both of their chests. These 2, one falls flat on the wall, the other falls over and downward on the ground, just as the last guard, or one of the guards on the ground, is approaching. Volok very swiftly pulls another arrow from his quiver, pulls back, releases, and takes that second guard out before they have a moment to alert anyone, maybe even before they realized what they had seen. So now you have 5 out of 8 guards left. No, you have 3 of 8 guards left. You have hit 5 of the 8 guards on the outside of the city. The other 3 are slowly going to be walking around to see what happened. Or they're not going to walk around to see what happened. They're going to be walking around and they're going to see these dead bodies.
Yeah.
You also don't know if anyone is in the tower. You are certain if anyone inside the tower was watching that they wouldn't have necessarily seen based on where you shot them.
Mm-hmm.
What is your next move?
Oh god. I'm gonna tell Cassini to is there a way that is there like a clear entrance to the guard tower that we get? Well, first of all, is there anyone in our way to get into the guard tower so we would be able to check?
There's about 100 feet of open space.
Okay.
If someone was in the guard tower, they would likely be able to see you crossing. And you have a few minutes. If anyone from the guard tower exits on the southern side and starts walking fairly soon, they will see, they'll come across the one guard who has fallen. They're all sort of moving clockwise. So those guards, you still have probably like a minute for the guard on the outer parts of the city, or maybe a little bit more before they see the 2 dead bodies. You have less time on the top because there are more guards and they're evenly spaced. Okay. I'm going to give you a minute to think about this as we jump really quickly to Rob.
Howdy.
Hi. Okay. Where exactly do you want to be teleported into based on the description you were given by Yannick?
Right. So I think Magnus is I think maybe Witty wouldn't notice this, but I think Alfalfa has been sort of stalking the shadows behind her company to sort of like keep some tabs on it. Just on what's happening. I think he sees that that rotation is going well. So we think that the officers are in the guard tower. Are they in a separate building that is like a command, like a officer's bunk tent sort of thing?
There is a separate, there are actually 3 separate areas where officers bunk. So most of, so the guard tower is literally just for like active, people who are working and awake. There are barracks for most of the low-level soldiers and guards. There are 3 separate buildings that house individual officers.
Gotcha. You said there's 3 separate buildings for officers?
They don't keep them all in the same space in case like something happened.
Yeah, like Magnus. If Magnus happens. Yeah. Right. So we only care about getting like 1 or 2 people. So I think Magnus will confer a little bit more with like the chaos duty people. I think he's going to pick one of the 3 to teleport into, probably the one that is like closest to the exterior wall of the city, like whatever can be like reached by going through the fewest physical barriers.
Yeah, I would say what would probably make the most sense then is to teleport on the one that's closest to the west, because that will be the one closest to Winnie.
Okay, so the plan I'm going to share with the Arcaneids and the rest of the soldiers who are there to sort of like support us while we infiltrate is like, if me and Ilya can go in and grab an officer and take him back out of the war zone, if the other people could then just like do their worst against the other officer towers and people in there to just like try to destroy any chain of command before things get too hairy, that's kind of what I would like them to do. But I think the western tower is where Magnus and Ilya are going to try to warp into and then warp out.
Okay. Yeah. So are you bringing Yannick with you?
I think...
Or is Yannick going with Arcos group?
I think her specialty is not like command and like fighting. It's like infiltration and stuff, right? So I think I would take her with us as like a consultation. I think, whatever troop she has of like people that are good at working fast and in like tight spaces to get in here.
She'll probably go with you and then send her other 2 reports with Arcos, because they're the ones who have the actual like experiential knowledge of how this place is laid out, or at least more than the rest of you have.
Cool. That makes sense.
Yeah, so you and Ilya, based on the description that Yannick gives you, Ilya is able to scry on the location to see where you need to teleport, and says, all right, there's like a couple people sleeping in this one. Do we want to go straight into the bedroom? You want to go downstairs and then sneak up? You have a way to restrain them?
Does Megan? Well, I mean, freezing them in time does do wonders, don't it? I think I have a funnier thing. I think that works. Okay. Yes, I have a way to restrain them. As long as I can touch one, should be fine. Yes, so, does there seem to be a bedroom from what you can scry that is, bigger or more grandiose than any of the others?
Yes.
Right. Well, we'll be teleporting directly into that one then, I think.
All right. Everybody ready? Holds out her hands. And as soon as you all touch, closing the circuit, blink out immediately into this dark room. There is a human sleeping on a bed.
Can Magnus see with his eyes general shape, size, and age of this person?
Yeah, it is a human man, not older, like younger than you, definitely. But like maybe, how old is Magnus again?
He's like nearing 40.
Okay, so probably like I would guess like late 20s.
Okay, and just a quick glance around the room, like, does he seem like he's somebody in charge?
A quick glance. They seem important, whoever he is, whoever this person is.
That's good enough for government work. Magnus is going to, so I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do in advance. So Magnus would like to sneak up to him. There's sort of two ways that he could do this. The one I want to do is to touch him and cast Shape Change to turn him into a frog that Magnus can put into a jar.
Excellent. Magnus, you creep up toward this person. Entirely asleep. Actually, go ahead and roll me some stealth.
Fuck. Please.
Magnus stomps over to the bed. Turn him into a frog.
Okay, I'm not unskilled in stealth, which is
I'm gonna
good
get you.
news.
We're doing you with your fork.
Only rolling a d4 here. Old d4, d6 action.
Little D4, D6 action.
Oh, baby, that's a 4. That's a 4.
Exactly one raise. You walk as quietly as you can up to this sleeping person. You can tell as you get closer. Looks like a man. Facing the other direction. As you put your hand on his shoulder.
Don't be sweaty, don't be sweaty.
It's not sweaty.
Okay, then good.
He moves slightly in his sleep. Not awake, but turns toward you. A familiar face. Not entirely like the last time you saw it. Though the skin is melted and healed with burns. You see your brother.